Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving into my top 5 best teams for the Evolution Cup. Now, at the time of recording this video, the Evolution Cup is set to drop later on today, so as per tradition, I thought, why not get you guys off to a good start with some really solid teams to perhaps run in the Evolution Cup. So this one looks to be somewhat fun, very unique concept for a specialty cup. It takes place at the Great League format, which is a max CP limit of 1500, and you can only use second stage evolutions, hence the name Evolution Cup. So very fun and unique specialty cup to go alongside the Open Master League for one more week. But yeah, we have some very, very solid teams for you guys to give a try. And without further ado, let's hop into team number 1. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 1, a very powerful team for the Evolution Cup, and it leads with Dustclops on the lead, Vigoroth on the safe swap, and Zweilous in the back to close the game strong. Now, Dustclops, it can be XL'd, but it does not have to be. So those of you who have maybe saved or hung on to a Dustclops from the Duskull Community Day, now's the time to use it. It's going to be pretty solid in this meta. It is very bulky. So that is its selling point, I would say. It's very, very bulky and can be quite spammy because it does run Hex and it has access to very low energy cost charge moves in the form of Ice Punch and Shadow Punch. You can also run Fire Punch, and if you have a Purified Dustclops, you can also run Return. So Dustclops on the lead is going to be protecting our back 2 Pokemon from any potential fighting type damage, which will be coming in the form of either Vigoroth or Machoke. So let's have a look at this scorecard here. And there we have it, guys. So much like the Ultra Premier Classic top 5 best teams video, we're kind of throwing bulk score to the wayside. PvPoke just does not see anything in this meta as bulky, and rightfully so. There are not too many bulky Pokemon that will get you a very high bulk score. It's not really that big of a deal. But other than the bulk score, this team has a very stellar overall scorecard. You get an A for coverage, you get a C for bulk, an A for safety, and an A for consistency. You don't get much better than that, my friends. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So this is probably going to be one of the most simplistic teams that I will highlight here. It is both simplistic and extremely effective. All 3 of these Pokemon are quite strong in this meta. Dustclops on the lead will do very well. Like I said, it's here to protect the back 2 Pokemon from any potential fighters that may pop up in the meta. The 2 most common ones, although not officially a fighter, is Vigoroth, of course, and Machoke. Those are the 2 that we're really concerned about here. And that is why Vigoroth is on the safe swap. Vigoroth, you're going to safe swap into to draw out a potential fighter or a Pokemon that runs a fighting type fast move. And that way Dustclops can come back in, take it out, which allows Zweilous to roam free and hopefully sweep the end game for you, preferably with a shield advantage. So Dustclops is going to have some trouble with a Zweilous lead, which you will see quite a bit of, I will say. But Dustclops running Ice Punch can absolutely fight back against those Zweilous leads. And it's not as bad as you would think, really, because Dustclops, like I said, is quite bulky. One of the bulkiest Pokemon in this meta. And that Zweilous has to land a Dark Pulse to do any meaningful damage. The Dragon Breath fast move pressure does add up over time, but if you can land an Ice Punch, that Zweilous is going to be in some big trouble. So that's what makes Dustclops so powerful on the lead. That's really the only major concern you will have on the lead. Maybe if you happen to run into a Chansey on the lead or something crazy like that, you're going to be doing just fine with Dustclops on the lead. So that is team number one. Amazing scorecard. Bulk score aside, it has basically straight A's. That is insane. So that is team number one. Dustclops on the lead, Vigoroth on the safe swap, and Zweilous in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number one. And with all that said, let's have a look at team number two. All right, guys, here we go. Team number two, another very powerful team for the Evolution Cup, and it leads with Chargebug on the lead, Vigoroth making another appearance on the safe swap, and Celio in the back to bring it home for you. So, this team has a very similar dynamic to team number one in that Chargebug, having its bug typing, is going to protect our back two Pokemon from fighting type damage. While Celio in the back will protect Chargebug from any potential flyers. It does take neutral damage from flyers, but the one prominent flyer in this meta happens to be Golbat, which can debuff you, which that really compounds the damage. It's a very nasty snowball effect, as we all may know by now. But let's have a look at this scorecard here for team number two, and there you have it. Basically straight A's yet again, just as with team number one. Very powerful team. You get an A for coverage. You do get that C for bulk. You get an A for safety and an A for consistency. That's a very good scorecard if you ask me. And let's have a look at these matchups here. So Chargebug on the lead is here to address the two most common leads that you guys will see in this meta. And those come in the form of Vigoroth and Zweilous. Now, it does say that you lose to those two on the lead, but that is in the one shield, guys. In the two shield, it's a different story, which is the scenario that you will be faced with team number two, because Chargebug's always going to be starting out in the two shield. So in that scenario, you do a lot better against those two, which is why we are leading with it. You are going to have some problems. The one major core breaker to this team would be Alolan Graveler. It's not too big of a deal because Alolan Graveler is quite squishy. You can, you don't really want to hang in there though, because Alolan Graveler generates energy very fast with Volt Switch, and you do take super effective damage from rock type damage. So a bit of a team effort for Alolan Graveler leads. Vigoroth is your best answer to it. So you're going to have to safe swap into Vigoroth. You have to flip switch, and you can play out the two shield to achieve that. You just have to get that Alolan Graveler at about 50% health for your remaining two Pokemon to do much of anything to it. But outside of Alolan Graveler being the major core breaker to team number two, it's going to perform very well overall. Vigoroth and Celio are very powerful in this meta. Both of them have some insane body slam spam action going on between the two of them, which makes for a very powerful team. So that is team number two. Again, basically straight A's minus that eyesore of a bulk score there. The scorecard is amazing on it. So that is team number two. Chargebug on the lead, Vigoroth on the safe swap, and Celio in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number two. With all that said, let's have a look at team number three. Here we go, guys. Team number three. Another very solid team for the Evolution Cup, and it leads with Metang on the lead, Dragonair on the safe swap, and Zweilous in the back to close the game strong. We had to get some sort of Steel Double Dragon team in the mix here, guys. I'm a big fan of the Double Dragon teams in these specialty cups. I've run them quite a bit in these specialty cups in the past, and they do quite well. That's because they are limited metas, and there are very few things in this meta that can resist that heavy Dragon Breath fast move pressure with stab. And having double trouble in the form of 2 dragons is just quite powerful. So Metang is not a Pokemon that we come across too often, but it is quite bulky. It doesn't have the best fast move in the world in the form of Metal Claw, but it does have that steel typing, which is quite valuable in this meta with all of the dragons that will be running rampant. And Dragonair is always going to be a very solid safe swap option. But let's have a look at the scorecard here. And not bad, guys. For team number 3, you get an A for coverage. You do get that C for bulk. You get a B for safety and an A for consistency. You don't get too much better than that, guys. So let's have a look at these matchups here. So Metang on the lead. Again, has some very nice bulk in this format. It is here to protect our 2 dragons from the ice types, and we don't have too much charm roaming around in this meta, which you don't get to say too often, but mostly the ice types, because there you will be seeing quite a few Celeos running around, and Metang is here to shut all that down. So Metang on the lead. It's going to have a little bit of trouble with Zweilous, as Zweilous can hit you with super effective damage in the form of Dark Pulse, but that's really what you have to be concerned with. So if you're met with a Zweilous on the lead, which you can bet the house that you're going to see many Zweilous leads, you're going to want to stay in there a little bit and try and either pressure health or a shield with the threat of a Gyro Ball with stab. Once you get off that Gyro Ball, whether they shield or tank, you're making the play into your Dragonair. And by the time you're ready to do that, the Zweilous will be quite compromised on health, and you may even come into that with a shield advantage, depending on what they choose to do. And that's easy farm down range for your Dragonair. That's how you handle Zweilous on the lead with Metang. And you really do have to be concerned about a potential ghost type. The 2 most prominent ghost types in this meta are going to be Haunter and Dustclops. Both of the 2 Pokemon in the back handle ghost types beautifully, which is why this team is so effective. But other than that, everything else is pretty straightforward with this team. You're going to be doing very well with it if you give it a try. I will definitely run it on the channel and show you guys how to play it. But yeah, pretty solid scorecard. That is team number 3 here. Metang on the lead, Dragonair on the safe swap, and Zweilous in the back to bring it home for you. So that is team number 3. And with all that said, let's have a look at team number 4. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 4, another banger of a team for you for the Evolution Cup. And it leads with Hakomo-O on the lead, Celio on the safe swap, and Metang in the back to close the game strong. Now, depending on what you're reading for team comp of your opponent, you could safe swap Metang as well. Both of the Pokemon in the back serve as very solid safe swap options. And Celio does have some stronger closing potential. So sort of a dual safe swap dynamic with team number 4 here. And Hakomo-O, very powerful Pokemon, has some very nice bulk and some amazing coverage. So let's have a look at the scorecard here. And not bad, another very solid scorecard for team number 4. You get an A for coverage, a B for bulk, a C for safety, and an A for consistency. Not bad at all for team number 4. Let's have a look at these matchups here, and holy smokes, Hakomo is going to be winning lead quite a bit for team number 4. It is quite powerful. It is the bulkiest dragon in this meta, and you're going to be doing very well on the 2 most common leads in this meta, which come in the form of Vigoroth and Zweilous. You beat them both on the lead, no problem whatsoever. You do beat the other dragon in the meta in the form of Dragonair. All three of these Pokemon have solid victories over Dragonair, so you have no worries if you happen to run into one. Hakomo-O will have some problems, however, with ice types and the ghost types. Haunter is the one major core breaker with this team. Haunter can be quite troublesome, but it's not very bulky at all. It is basically made of paper. This Pokemon is probably the squishiest Pokemon in this meta. So that makes it not so bad, really, to be honest. You do have to watch out for those ice punches from Haunter. You're going to have to shield that because Haunter hits like a truck. But I really wouldn't stay in on a potential Haunter lead. I would not stay in on a Dustclops lead as well, because they both can run Ice Punch, and those can deal super effective damage, of course, to Hakomo-O. So in that case, you will want to safe swap into Celio on the Ghost type leads. You can still fight back with your heavy Dragon Tail fast move pressure if things go awry. But the Ghost type leads, you're going into Celio just as fast as you can. And the Ice type leads, you're going to be going into Metang. You can hang in there a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend it. That you're just taking too much damage from the fast move pressure from the ice types, although you can hit them back with super effective damage in the form of Brick Break. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward for team number 4. I just really wanted to go over the strategy with the ghost types and the ice types on the lead. Again, very, very solid scorecard for team number 4. Another one that I'm pretty excited to give a try. So that is team number 4. Hakomo-O on the lead, Celio on the safe swap, and Metang in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number 4. And with all that said, let's have a look at team number 5. All right, my friends, last but certainly not least, team number 5. Another very strong team for the Evolution Cup, and it leads with Machoke on the lead. Dustclops is your safe swap, and Dragonair in the back to close the game strong. Now, Machoke, to be at its most effective, you do want to have Cross Chop on it. Cross Chop, one of the best charge moves in the game, but it will cost you an Elite Charge TM. So there is that decision. Do you want to spend an Elite Charge TM on a Pokemon that you will probably only ever use in a cup like this? I don't know. If you don't want to do that, it does have access to Brick Break. Brick Break, not as good of a charge move as Cross Chop, but it'll get you by if you want to run Machoke. It is Cross Chop is slightly better. Does slightly better DPE, but Brick Break will get you by, and that will not it will not cost you an Elite Charge TM for that. So you can still run Machoke with Brick Break and still do just fine. So that is Machoke there. And like I said, Dustclops can be XL'd, but it does not have to be. And there may even be some benefits to not running the XL, because Dustclops does not hit particularly hard. Its redeeming quality is its bulk and its spamminess. So having a non-XL will allow it to hit just that much harder. So no worries there. And Dragonair is about as strong of a closer as you will find. Let's have a look at this scorecard here. Excuse me. And here we go. Another very solid scorecard for team number 5. And you get an A for coverage. You do get that C for bulk. You get a B for safety and an A for consistency for team number 5. Very solid scorecard. Let's have a look at these matchups here. Machoke on the lead is going to be doing very well, and its primary purpose is to handle the 2 most common leads, like I said before, that you will be assuredly seeing, which come in the form of, again, Vigoroth and Zweilous. Machoke, being a fighter, handles them both beautifully, and you will have some problems, though, with flyers. So that is why I constructed the team in this way. You've got Dustclops with access to Ice Punch, which can handle the flyers, but having the moveset that it has makes it very versatile, which makes it a very good safe swap option, as well as having some very, very nice bulk. So Dustclops is the primary safe swap option on this team. Both of our Pokemon in the back can do very well against Golbat. You just have to really be concerned about a potential Shadow Ball if you have your Dustclops on a Golbat, but if you can successfully shield up the Shadow Ball, you're going to be doing just fine. You do outpace to those Ice Punches, which do hit for super effective. Dragonair does very well against Golbat as well, because that Dragon Breath fast move pressure with Stab is just on another level, guys. But other than that, other than the flyers on the lead, you're going to be doing just fine. Ghost type leads as well. You're going to want to go into Dustclops as well. It's kind of a wash, really, but that's really what you want to do, because Dragonair is going to do well against the ghost types as well. It's just they can hit Dragonair for super effective with Ice Punch. So ghost types take a bit of a team effort, but both Pokemon in the back do handle Haunter very well. It's just Dustclops will be... Machoke running this all-fighting moveset is kind of useless against ghost types. You get bonus points, though, however, if you have a purified Machoke. It'll give you a little bit more coverage. Not against ghost types, but overall in the meta. Give you nice coverage. I'm kicking myself because I had been saving a purified Machoke, but I don't have return. I did not TM away frustration, and go figure. So it's the normal Machoke for me, I'm afraid, but if you've got a purified one, you can do pretty well with that as well. So that is team number 5. A very solid team for team number 5, one that I'm also excited to give a try. And that about wraps it up, my friends, for my top 5 best teams for the Evolution Cup. Should be a lot of fun, a nice change of pace from the Master League grind. It'll be nice to have a Great League format back in some form. And in this form, it comes in the form of the Evolution Cup, which will be a lot of fun. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.